No, we're just clearing the usual D11. This character's pretty strong, so I'm okay with it. No harm in being a little bit stronger as long as I can. Okay. Pack of centaurs. A lot on this level. Walk around with your dagger, because if you walk around the corner and can stab something, you want the best stab possible. There's the... So the big thing left is just that Death Knight. I'm just going to try to confuse him. It doesn't have great odds, but that's fine. Okay, the shadow can't do a whole lot to me. Of course. Of course. There's our Death Knight pal. There we go. So he doesn't have injury mirror up, so there's not a lot he can do. And he has some decent MR, but it's only like a 1 in 4. You know, 1 in 4 success. Hungry Ghost. Oh great, yeah. Confused you over water, that's good. This vault. Oh, there was shallow water. Oh, there would be 2 of them. And there would be that on top of it. Okay. Oh wow, something died while confused. That's great. Must have been, I wonder if it killed the, no, oh, we got him first try. There's our dodging 12. The actual number, you can look it up this way. Uh-oh, did we lose Lomlobot? Oh no, I always forget. That doesn't work except in Discord. And what's our next? We got short blades. Yeah, he stops at... Well, you do go to 10 actually. 10 would be pretty good. You already got the fighting and spell casting covered. 15 dodging, yeah, he goes back into stealth. So we'll do, our plan will be short blades next to 10. And once that's done, we can go into hexes and stealth again. Doesn't really matter which. Stealth is probably the better choice since I don't really super need more spell power right now. So this was a kind of a nasty little vault. +5, hey, that's 1 more. Oh, or we could take an additional stealth ring. What is this? We are losing 2 EV, but extra stealth is pretty cool. Lightning rod, hello. Well, there we go. D12 is explored, and D11 is explored. Oh, I'm in water. I'm like, why is my stealth destroyed? That's why. Oh yeah, all those stabs. That's a really big list of monsters. It's things that tend to be MR immune. Are non-living things, any kind of like golem or construct. I mean, a lot of things just have pretty high MRs, so. Well, we tried, but that door did not want to cooperate. We'll have to just hex the yaks, one at a time. Which works pretty well. Until it doesn't. Let me get back up here. One of these is teleport. I'm just gonna ID all my singleton. Go ahead and put that on my gloves. It's kind of hard to upgrade gloves, so that'll be good for a while. Look at all this food that I found that I can't use. Going to throw on Evo in addition to this at the same time, so I don't have to think about it. Okay, that didn't work. That's showing you the challenges that can happen when you want to try to stab multiple things. That's fine. You know, stab opportunities are just like potential free kills, and sometimes they don't work out. My hexes spell power are enough where I can probably confuse stab the Hydra. We just don't want it to be making I don't want to be dealing with like yaks and other stuff in addition. I mean, that's a long question to answer. Oops, why did I do that? This species, for example, probably could use some adjustments, some rethinking of the general concept. Oh yeah, you know. Long time, but long explanation. Life is short. Life is short when you're always stabbing. Oh, good. Alright, we are gonna make some distance here. Nice. So I drew blood, and that the stab healed me, which is kind of handy. In that particular situation, it was actually handy. That's another thing that the thirsty it's like your food, it's your satiation level. And yeah, it says thirsty just because you don't like eat permafood, you drink blood. But it's the same like meaning as for other species. It's talking about what your satiation is. So I have to drink potions of blood in order to increase my satiation. Oh, we stabbed a few of them. Spiny Frog kind of had us dialed in, but then forgot about us. Right now I'll go up. I'll go back into here and just hex these guys. I'll probably take different stairs. There's no different types of blood. It's some like insect monsters and corpseless monsters, they don't leave it. Even some monsters like insects that leave corpses, they don't have actual blood in them. It doesn't have to be humanoid. It can be any animal, like almost everything in layer. If it leaves if it has noxious chunks though, like inedible chunks, then you can't drink from it. Another ring of we got a scarf. What's this one? Oh, there's our boy. Oh, did he get shafted? I guess he did. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Nice how though this is always what complicates things. Like the Rhyme Drake shows up and decides he's gonna blast my face with Ice Blast. Okay. Guess I should. Damn it. There's another Hydra. Can we sneak up on Mr. Hydra? Nope, we cannot. Oh man, I wish I had memorized Blink. It really would have been helpful. Alright, well let's give that one a try. There we go. Yeah, he is I mean, it puts me in so much EV that the thing is that they have a tough time hitting you. And then I can run away. I can try Parawan, but it's just I can try to confuse him. Oh, we got him. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. Mr. Hydra down. So 40% is actually not so bad. He's hexable. DG is actually a pretty strong species. They're really strong early on. They have an easy early game, and then they kind of taper off later on. But they are kind of interesting for that reason. And yeah, they're not supposed to be the same strength. That's sort of the crawl ethos for species and classes both, is that they're not. You have things like Berserker and Deep Dwarf at the top tier, and then you have things like Mummy and Monk, which is like a really weak background at the bottom tier. Not everybody loves demigods, but they definitely have their fans. It's sort of still kind of a divided thing where some people really like demigods, how simple they are, and how they are easy early, and they make the problem is the difficulty curve of this game for like winning is like really hard at first, and then it just tapers off if you're playing well. For a lot of people, it feels like it maybe gets harder or stays the same, but the better you get at the game, the easier the game gets as it goes along. You know, from like XL, you know, from getting into lair to getting to a rune. And demigods are harder relative to other species once you're in lair, for instance. They start to get harder. It's sort of fuzzy when they actually get more difficult. But eventually gods, being as strong as they are, make a big difference after a while. And also, the aptitudes for the higher skill levels start to really, even though experience it scales with depth, the amount of experience you need to gain a skill level also increases. So they start to feel fairly weak, maybe around layer branches or something like that. Yeah, and like Plankton, it says a lot of people like that just fine. Some experienced players tend to like them a lot, but not everyone. I don't think Elliptic likes them very much, but Lasty, another dev, likes them. I'm sort of middle. I mean, they're nice to play every once in a while. But yeah, don't expect demigods to be like the super flashy thing. There is interest in making a flashier version of demigods or something that feels somewhat similar, but and there have been a lot of demigod rework proposals. I'm not sure how well supported the idea of. It seems like too many devs like current demigods that just replacing them with a totally different species would probably not be viable. We would have to really like the proposed species, and a lot of the proposals center on things that are kind of a little bit silly. Well, it really depends on what you want them to be. I mean, do you want, they're kind of like easier early, harder late. That's sort of where they sit, and they do that pretty well. So if you start buffing them, you're just going to make it even easier early and not actually hard later. So it kind of depends on what you want to do with the species. I mean, and if they don't have some distinctiveness, then they start to get to the point where, like, why do they exist? So any proposal to rework them is not going to buff them, I don't think. It's going to have to add some mechanic that's like somehow innately new. And they might end up being stronger later as opposed to slightly harder, but it would have to be something that adds some new gameplay. Iggy's back. What am I training? Well, they tend to be kind of hybridy, so those stats are having still a pretty big impact in layer. You know, HP is huge, but like you say, it's not actually different than human. Obviously, you know, comparing to human also, humans they do have better aptitudes, but it's sort of, it's only, you know, 14% more. I do need to train some of that stuff. Yeah, I turned on Evo, didn't I? And I stopped, where are we at? Hexes and stealth. Translocations. What is our... Let me just temporarily enable that. I can enable that in addition to stealth. How about that? So, 1.0, SP. That one will train the fastest. Blink. Do I want to waste time with any summons? There is passage. I can't really cast that right now, so I'm not going to memorize it. I don't know if I want to really mess with summons on this character. I didn't really get my Uber weapon. Sonya? Okay, so she's somebody you want to hex. Because you don't want to let her Kurara you. I do have our poison now. There's our Telly Scrolls. Actually, I need this too. Okay. No need to waste. No need to waste those Telly Scrolls. 5 is pretty good for now, but still somewhat low. Stab ourselves some Blink Frogs. Eventually. Let's confuse ourselves some Blink Frogs. Maybe he might have resisted. he might have woken up. Down goes the Hydra. Here's our Hydra plan. Okay, he's good. Wow, that that Hydra, he had a bad time. He had a real bad time. I guess that's proof that a Hydra is not all that strong versus another Hydra, even if that other Hydra is the Hydra itself. That guy killed himself in like he killed himself in one turn? He killed himself in one turn. No, he killed himself in 2 turns. Yeah, the last bite did him in there. Wow. Rip Mr. Hydra. Well, all it would be, sadly, is the log. It's pretty good, though. Good clip. Somebody can clip it. Yeah, if somebody wants to, they can clip it. Then I can paste it to Discord, or I can do it later. That was pretty funny, though. I'm sure that's happened to me before, but I will tactically not stab the Blink Frog and switch on my RC. Because I am so pro. You get, if you're thirsty, I think you get RC. Oh wow, I have RC++. What the hell? Never mind. Oh yeah, that's because I have innate RC, right? Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, they don't have AC. It didn't have anything to do with animal intelligence, no. It's just they have a lot of attacks. So if they attack themselves, I think it's going to hit all of their attacks. It's not... Them attacking themselves is reasonably rare. It's not like... I don't know, maybe it's a 10% chance or something like that. It might be higher. But if they do attack, they're going to hit themselves. Like, it's going to do all of its attacks. So all of its heads were biting itself. And that did a ton of damage. And then I guess it did it again on the next turn. It's probably higher than 10%. Maybe it's like 20%. But I feel like it's not too high. Otherwise, it would be happening a lot more. So maybe 10% is right. Maybe even lower. I don't know. FD was rejected, yeah. Old Spiny. Old Spiny. Nope, not gonna get to stab all the axe. That's all right. These are trivial monsters anyway. Stabbing is just basically. Now, if they were death yaks, then I'd be hyped about a stab. Death yaks I can probably confuse with my spell power. I'm guessing. Confuse is 2 pips away from max, so... Are you talking about the self-hitting, or are you talking about for death yaks? Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's that high. Otherwise, I confuse a lot, and I don't see it that much. Not using a whole lot of Wu Jian abilities here. It's kind of a problem, but last time I accidentally used it, it did not work out the best. But that was an accidental usage, so. The lunge is cool, though. The lunge stab is like, it's basically a free stab, really, yeah. If you think about it, it's just sort of extending your stabbing range, which is kind of neat. Why did I do that? Got a stave, staff of fire. I will hold on to that. That is my only source of RF for now. Potion of Magic, that's a handy one. Magical Power, not really going to mess with that. Don't really need more MP. Don't need a 3rd ring of stealth either. Don't think I really need a 2nd ring of RC. Which is the spells you hate. Well, hexes are really strong, Iggy. I mean, they add a lot of power to your character. Confusing a monster is just like totally disabling it. Even if you're using damaging magic, if you had free confuse, you can just sit there and pelt monsters with spells in much less danger. Yeah, I mean, confuse is pretty good. EH is very much a stabber-centric one because it just doesn't last for long enough turn. Oh boy. Let's move over to here. Because we're gonna get all sorts of friends showing up. Confuse you. Alright, well that wore off finally. Oh yeah, you just don't like them. Well, that's... Yeah, there's a lot of strong spells. There's a lot of strong spells in this game that are very polarizing, that people don't like. Almost summons are really strong and people don't necessarily like using them. Hexes are another one where some people just, I guess, hate. Some people only really like fire spells or something like that. Don't bite the plants, but they're bad. They're behaving badly. Stabby stab. Oh. It's Minmay's vault. This is the vault, by the way. Oh yeah, Iggy. If you start with a mage book start, meaning in the mage class, you know, the elementalists and the ones in that column, those spell books carry you through layer, and very often they're good through layer branches. So yes, for those. But if you're some of the other classes, and you find hexes, they're just like, this is a huge boon because now you have confuse, which is like this level 3 spell that can just disable monsters, and you don't have your mage book, so that's why it's very much background dependent. But this query will show you LVL less than 6. Let's look not on layer 6. Yeah, Confusing Touch is a really strong spell. It is very powerful. Confuse, the spell does not check HD. It only checks MR. Confusing Touch, however, does not check MR and checks HD. But yeah, it doesn't. They're not connected, those two. It's a hex, so it checks MR. Although, you know, not every hex checks MR, but that one specifically, it only checks. And yeah, it is true. Confusing Touch does scale in a way that Confuse does not. But you also sort of keep in mind that plenty of monsters that are actually somewhat dangerous throughout the game, all the way up through like Zotraconians and all sorts of other stuff, do not have excellent MR. So the hexes are always useful. But yeah, if you have other means of killing monsters, then you don't necessarily need them. It does have an MR bonus, yeah. So that listing that I just did, 1074 Minmay Lair Oaklob Chamber, that's this vault that I just stumbled into. It has more kills than Rupert and Snorg. Unique vaults are very often the top of the kill list for many branches, because uniques just tend to be a dangerous monster that players don't pay attention to enough and have weird effects. But Special Room is a special class of vaults that can place in many branches, and they're just this big box of monsters. You've seen it before, like the Orc Special Room with all these orcs and kobolds, and it's in lair. It's like a beast, basically, a box of beasts, if you will. And actually, funnily enough, there's a special placement to place a box of beast in that variant. Kind of a play on the term. There's even a variant of special room that can appear on layer 5 and 6 that will play slime monsters, so it can be a bunch of acid blobs and stuff. And if you get that, you basically want to get off the level, because you're probably not ready to fight acid blobs and the other high level slimes. So if you ever run into that, you know where it came from. It came from that rare slime special room vault. But yeah, this oak log chamber is the deadliest vault in lair. That is not a lair ending vault. So there's probably some good stuff in there. I might be able to get a peek at it. Oh, we got spider. Somebody was wishing for spider. Oh, why would you do that? Oh, that's not good. Okay, we're actually going to cure. What is my hex chance on this guy? I don't want to mess around with this anymore. Really? Okay. We might need a contingency plan. This guy, for whatever reason... Thank you. Love of God.